Well, hey, everybody. Look, I made myself pretty today for you. Okay, maybe not. Whatever. Hey,
Fail.
oh, you know what? Whatever. We'll be back in a minute.
Paying too much for trucking insurance? What if you could save more by making one simple phone call and keep more profit? You could very well do just that with one simple call to Seabright Agency, 800-366-6466. Call now.
Now here's a question that all owner-operators and small fleet owners should consider. What happens when you access the unrivaled advantages that are available through the ES Advantage program? We asked Jeff and Charlie from Contractors Corner to share their thoughts on how they've been able to utilize the discounts and services that are a part of the ES Advantage.
So we started looking for a way to save money on fuel. And we were turned on to the ES Advantage program for fuel first. So we got a hold of Jeff Reese, and he ran us through that program. And man, we were starting to save. And then we started talking to them. Well, we saw their website, and we said, Jeff, what's this thing about insurance and accounting and
Right.
you lease trucks? What?
Right, and that's the thing, is we only knew it as a fuel card. And when we started digging deeper, I mean, we ended up getting hooked up with an insurance provider, Seabright Agency, and they created an entire insurance program just for us and our people. And from that, we've learned that, you know, now there's even more potential. There's a greater opportunity, and it's completely opened up our eyes and broadened our vision into what it is we're trying to do, which is help people do better. Wrapped with the ES community just makes that process so much easier.
Now, if you're an owner-operator or small fleet owner and you would like to learn more about how you can drive savings to the bottom line of your business, the ES Advantage program has the discounts and services that deliver the kind of unrivaled advantages that are designed to help you improve your overall operation. Get connected with the ES Advantage today.
Charlie is in the background sucking his thumb, and I think we hurt his feelings, folks. Charlie.
I'm pretty. Mama said I'm pretty. Why you put me up, bro?
Suck it up
Dang,
and drive
man.
on, bro.
That's messed up, dude. God. Y'all, whatever. What's going on, man?
It's a day, man.
I hear you, bro. It's definitely been. It's been a
I was
couple days.
talking to the cashier in the Loves here a few minutes ago, and she's like, I asked her, so how you doing? Because you do that, right? Oh, day's almost over. I'm looking forward to going home. And I said, do you want me to make you feel better? She said, sure, give it a shot. And I said, well, I've been out for 3.5 weeks, and I'm not going home for another month. And I think she actually shed a tear.
She's like,
She didn't give me my stuff for free, so I don't know.
yeah,
But-
it wasn't that good. Dang it. All right. So,
Oh, hey, I would pay to see that, Wimpy. Wimpy says that you should put on a Whoopi Goldberg wig, man. Like, what was that one? Was it a movie or was it just a picture of her in New York where she didn't have her hair in a configuration? It was just the big fro. And dude, her fro was like way out here.
wow.
This is the coolest looking fro I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
She was totally sporting the 70s look.
I think my hair will darn near grow like that if I let it.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like, except for those patches up front where it's, running away, but whatever.
Your Dracula thing.
Yeah. Whoa. One. Oh.
So here's how crazy Hollywood is today, Charlie.
Uh-oh.
You know, one of the very first movies ever made was Nosferatu, the silent film, the old one,
Right.
the original Dracula. Hollywood has now remade that exact film.
Of course.
I mean, is there just no creativity at all anymore. They're going all the way back to the beginning now. That's what I got today. I'm done. I'll see you guys later.
Right? Yeah.
It's
Glad
one of those
you're
weeks,
supposed to be
man.
Next week.
It's one of those weeks. It's one of those weeks.
Yeah, brain is not braining today. I was down, not in a good way, shortly before the show. I still don't understand what it was. Was just feeling off. You know what I mean? Just not quite right. So I went and laid down for a few, and I think it helped. We'll see. Sean was first, by the way.
Yeah, that's just because he wants to brag about his stupid new truck.
That dude beat me into the room, which is weird. Like, I literally clicked it and clicked in, and he already had this. He was attempting to spell howdy, but he got it up. It was there, and he even corrected it before I could respond.
Nice.
You know? And Chris was second. I believe Tim was third.
Oh, Wimpy's just got all the answers today. Charlie should wear wigs every week like Narc's glasses.
Narc's glasses, right? Dude, I
Different
love
wig
his
every
glasses.
week.
I love his glasses. Like, for real. It's just great. I show him to Rosie. I'm like, look at this pair. She's like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, you really gotta. I couldn't pull it off, I don't think, but hey, Narc does. Good for him. I dig
Well,
it.
you know, every YouTuber out there's got their gimmick. Charlie, we don't really have a gimmick other than your "I love me" wall back there.
It's not a gimmick,
right? Only people that are in the military understand that term, but.
right?
You know, Charlie's guys, I love me wall. I broadcast from the truck. We're just here trying to put out information, man.
Right?
And sometimes, like this week, like we were talking several times today. What do you think we should talk about today? I don't know, man. My brain ain't braining.
Yeah.
But we did have a really kick butt event this weekend. We could talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed the heck out of that too.
You know, we talked to Mr. Josh Hull today. After that event, we talked about how things went and everything like that. And we will see what his schedule looks like. But for those of you guys that are in the subscription area of what we do, which is on the school platform, the Road Warrior Entrepreneurs Community, Josh would like to do more stuff with them. All for that $47. And we got talking about what this stuff actually costs. Like if you were to just hire him.
Right.
We did. I could tell you it's more than $47 a month. And
Considerably more.
yeah, it's really cool to have someone that can convey what we try to convey, but people actually like understand it better because he actually has a college degree. Does that make sense, Charlie?
Yeah.
He's a little better spoken than we are, you know? So look forward to more stuff from Josh coming up. He's also committed to work with us a little closer to kind of hone our own skills a little bit.
Right.
I do my monthly Zooms. I didn't do it in January because we thought Josh was going to do his best year ever in January, but scheduling conflicts happened. So I apologize for that. But yeah, I'm looking forward from learning from the guy on how to better present all that stuff. One of the things I'm going to ask for you guys, you know, and I'm going to point out this stuff that I'm talking about here, you're paying for it, right?
Right.
You know, it's $47 a month. You get a 12% discount if you go for the full year all at one time. Participate, man. Participate. You know, we just had this great event with Josh. We learned from him the step by step. Here's how you build your best year ever. And you know, a lot of the stuff that I talk about and what I do, but he broke it down, bro. He broke it down. The next step is really to participate in what you're paying for. Get in there.
Right.
Tell us where you're at. if you're getting stuck, let us know. We don't have the honey tongue like Josh does. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure you do. But we know the material. We live this stuff ourselves. So if you're starting to get stuck, let us know, and we will get in there and help you out to get to the next step. I just thought that was worth talking about real quick.
No, I dug it. Look, I was working. I mean, I couldn't not work that day because of my schedule.
Yeah. So we're on this Zoom call with Josh today to talk about stuff. And Josh points out that, he even told his wife, the year that he's been working us, it's the first time he's ever seen Charlie actually driving the truck. It was a Zoom call, so Charlie had his camera on. He was actually showing us a view out of the front window most of the time. But he thought it was pretty amazing that now he's got proof that Charlie actually does drive a truck.
Yeah, Chris saw when I stopped to get fuel and did my 30-minute break, and
Yep.
oh, it's funny. But it was cool because, again, so technology being what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't stop to really hammer it down, right? To be a part of it completely, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was cool because I could have it running, you know, and look, I'm fortunate. I have some pretty cool equipment that I carry with me in the truck and things like that. So I was able to, you know, have it up and running while not distracting me from driving and things like that. So let's just move past that part of it right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I was able to listen and engage that way and get something out of the live event, because there's something neat about when you're actually getting the interaction back and forth with different people, right? And hearing that live. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the recording. And by the way, you get to go back and have the recording available. So, I mean, that's still out there. It's not like it's gone forever. But I got to enjoy it, even though I couldn't stop to be parked for it. I got to hear what was going on the live event. And then I can now go back and actually sit down and really focus on the event now that I have time this week, you know? And that's the neat thing about it, man. It was just cool. And, you know, we had quite a few people there. I didn't get to see how many people were there. I know eventually I saw some other names pop up that weren't there at the very beginning of it, which was cool. So I don't even know how many were there. But it was cool to see different names pop up when Josh would ask a question and people would answer and things like that. Some people had cameras, some people didn't. It's all good. I dug it. I thought it was cool.
iPhone was there.
Yeah, iPhone. That was Mark. That's always Mark.
I know. I figured it out.
I did do it in the fuel island, Tim. I did. I was wondering if someone was going to say that. So wait. In my defense, I will tell you this, that I was like, okay, there's, you know, the fuel islands are still empty. There's empty fuel islands. I'm not blocking anyone from getting fuel. In the event that someone had pulled up or all the islands filled up, I actually would have pulled forward and, you know, waited for them to fuel up, and then I would have moved my happy butt around somewhere else. That QT, not super busy all the time, so it actually worked out really well. Yeah, that diesel bus, something else. Then there was an Amazon guy that parked right in all the car parking spaces right in front of the QT.
Oh.
Then he made a U-turn right there in front of me, and that's actually when I left, was right after he did that. And so he went out the car entrance. I went out around the back side of the place. When you come to the light coming out of that place, there's 2 left turn lanes. So which one should we be in, guys? The outside turn lane. Just saying. He's in the inside lane and got pissed off at me because he pulled up next to me on the inside lane and then threw on his right blinker.
That's
trying
wrong.
to tell me that he wanted to come over to the right.
Now, was he an Amazon guy, or was he a contractor at Amazon?
Yes. He's a contractor guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I started going. I'm empty. I got nothing but get up and go right now, right? I hit the throttle, the damn truck goes. well, as best it can with the settings and all that. And I make my nice wide swing, and this dude tried to cut in on me, and I was like, man, I just kept going. I don't know, it was weird. Anyhow, but yeah,
I'm
it
gonna
was
have
funny.
to watch the replay and see if I can see that.
Yeah. It was a trip. I was like, "Grrr, grumpy words."
So, one of the things too is I am amazed at Josh's
What's up, DJ?
acumen with the technology, right?
Right?
Because we have some of the same tools he does. But did you see the replay that he sent us? It's like all cataloged,
Right.
hyperlinks. So like if you want to see a certain topic, you just go down the list and you find that topic, you click it, and it automatically goes to that part of the video.
Yep.
And it's much more comprehensive than what we've been able to produce so far.
Right.
I mean, it's this technology these days. What's that thing that we use on Zoom? Fathom?
Yeah.
The Fathom app. Man. And here's what's interesting, Charlie. Go before COVID. And Zoom and those people did exist technically.
Right.
But when COVID hit and all of these companies went to remote working,
Oh yeah, the technology spiked.
boy,
Like
the
it-
technology spiked like immediately.
but isn't that how we do as people?
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? You look at the innovation during wartime.
Mm-hmm.
World War II. You look at the Gulf conflict since that all started. Prosthetics, medical, traumatic injury stuff. Yeah, it's crazy. But it's not till we absolutely need something we're like, oh crap, we didn't think about this. Let's make it now. And then poof, here it is. It's cool. Excuse me. Wait. There's stuff in here. There, I know Timothy Ransom was talking about the load board. Load board. Okay, look. So it's funny. I know Timothy Ransom is absolutely convinced, and so are some others, that planners over at the Swift side are hiding loads. And I believe there is a thing going on, but probably I don't know that it's intentional on their part. I know that a lot of loads, the Swift load board is a 005. If you're not at Swift, you won't understand it. That's general OTR dry van freight. It's not actually their biggest chunk of freight, I don't believe, because of all their dedicated and different routes that they build and things like that. Anyhow, so load board only shows 005 freight. And there's a lot of loads that don't appear, or they do appear and they disappear. I think it's because sometimes they're being reclassified in a different fleet or market or something, whatever you want to call it. So they take it out of 005, put it into 627 or whatever. I'm just making up random numbers now. Or it's in one of those divisions that's supposed to be on a more specialized or dedicated route or something like that. And then they're like, hey, we can't cover it. Quick, throw it in 005, and it pops up. That, and you can only see a day out or something like that in the current iteration.
Right. They do manipulate that, by the way. To McBee. Depending on what the volumes look like, they'll either stretch it out or narrow what you can see as far as how many days out. I think the maximum is 3 days and the minimum is 1 day. Is what he was saying.
And at one point they were, looking at certain markets, and they wouldn't put something up there because it was, overstocked with drivers or something. I don't know. There was weird things that were going on at one point. I'm of the thought now, just wait until the new iteration comes out, whenever it happens. It's supposed to be mid-month this month. We'll see if that happens or not. And then we'll start making some more beta determinations, right?
Once we see it.
Yeah. I think that the current iteration it's still what it is, right? And I mean, and some guys do really well with it. And other guys
by the
absolutely
time I left Swift, I would say that just over half of my job came from the load board at that point. Just over half. Some of it depends on what lane you're running too. Because like
Right.
if you're in Dallas, for instance, there's plenty of loads on the load board. At least there was. Obviously, I don't have access to it now. But Salt Lake City was another one. Plenty of loads within a 100-mile radius. What I liked about it, though, again, we don't get paid. You don't get paid the empty miles on a load board load,
Right.
which we have our opinion on that. They know what our opinion on that is, and you guys know what our opinion is on it. But it is what it is.
Right.
But I could choose to go further out if there was just nothing.
Right.
So, yeah. You gotta know your numbers though. You gotta know this is what it costs me to sit versus what it's gonna cost in fuel to get over there to get that load. And then you make a decision for yourself and you. So,
Mike said one of his best friends at
oops, sorry.
no, you're good. We're both clicking.
Ah,
You click. I get it. Stop. Don't click. Hands off. Oh, there you go. One of my best friends at Swift is a regional planner. She told me they move all the loads to the regional division. That actually makes sense, though. If you
Right.
look at what most of Swift's freight is, it is regional,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they are building these regional fleets because it's easier to keep those people running and home times and all that kind of stuff.
And I'm going to put this out there. If you're paying attention to industry news, it's not just Swift.
Right.
We are moving more and more towards regional warehousing, regional lanes. The days of OTR are just about numbered at this
Yeah.
point.
There's going to be a certain amount that's still running coast to coast. Let's be real. I mean, you can't do away with all of it. There's a lot of just-in-time freight that needs to run that way.
Mm-hmm.
Trains can't get it there fast enough. Planes are too expensive. So I mean, there is some of that stuff that's still there. But like Jeff said, a lot of it really is about relaying a lot of that long freight
Mm-hmm.
because they can do it on a solo guy. Right?
Right.
Solo guy to solo guy to solo guy, and they just keep passing off back and forth, and everything keeps moving.
Right, which costs less. By the way.
Right? Yeah.
Now, one of the things that I just thought of, Charlie, is once they get the Panama Canal project done, which I lost track of when it's supposed to be done at this point. It was supposed to be done a couple of years ago. But if you guys don't know, what they're doing is they're widening and deepening the canal so that those super container
Freighters.
ships, the huge ones, can make it through the canal. Once that happens, they're going to be dumping freight from China into Texas, right in the middle of the country. Instead of having to ship from LA, Portland, Seattle, they're going to go into Texas, right?
Yeah.
Where it's boom, you got 1,000 miles, 1,500 miles each way, instead of going from coast to coast. So that's going to change what we do.
And they'll still be able to drop in LA. They'll still be able to drop on the East Coast. It just makes it more cost effective from a shipping standpoint. I mean, the cost of shipping has been steadily going up forever, right? It's just weird. Rates have not matched that, but it's, fuel costs, things like that, equipment costs. So I mean, it makes more sense for them to do that. It sucks for me and Rosie, like if we want to go OTR and be real truckers again, right? But we're known when we do go OTR, we're known for being one of those go-to teams, and we've established that over years and years and years and years, that no matter what they give us, there's damn near no reason we won't make it. Short of, I can't drive my truck that fast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly, Mike. Amazon has shown that it's cheaper to build more DCs and cut back on shipping costs. Yeah, they fill those DCs everywhere.
At this point, Amazon DCs are spaced so that a solo truck can get from DC to DC in one drive shift at this point. So even if they need to jockey things around, they can do it in 24 hours.
Right.
And so how does that affect our business? Well, a lot of us that have been in the game for a while, we were used to those, like for years, Charlie.
Yeah.
My bread and butter was that Sacramento to New Jersey and back.
Right.
And I haven't seen one of those in years, bro.
Yep. Yeah,
it
I had a
does
street
change.
run back in the day where I would leave Portland or even out as far as Astoria. That was a weird one. Picked up at the cannery in Astoria, right?
Fish.
Which always sucked because I'd have to run up to Wana. Jeff knows what I'm talking about. I'd have to run up to Wana, get an empty, drive back to Astoria to the cannery, get loaded, live load. But then I would drive all the way to New York, right? And it was weird. I'd get a brand new fresh load of canned tuna or fish or sturgeon or whatever, right? And it was going to a food bank in New York every time.
Interesting.
And then I'd go up to there was a bottle manufacturer up in Connecticut or New Hampshire. I can't remember which one it was. And that went down to Henderson. And that was sweet because, you know, the load out to New York was crazy heavy because it was grossed out. The load down was, you know, it wasn't Gatorade, the other one, Powerade bottles down to Henderson, I think it was. And that was like, you know, 5,000 pounds nose to tail, plastic empty bottles. It was great. And then I'd run tires up to Portland and my student would unload tires because I absolutely refused. I don't touch tires. I told him
I only had to drive or unload tires twice.
And then they finally got smart and they started hiring a lumper. There was a lumper that showed up at the Portland tire place, tire discounters or whatever it was. And they'd be there and we just hang out. I'm like, good, because I'm never touching those again. I made that mistake one time, never again.
But, you know, and since I don't work for Swift anymore, I'm going to say this in public.
Yeah.
Because I won't get in trouble now. Unless they want to go way back and do something.
Right.
So, American Tire. They were awesome. They would actually ask me, hey, man, it's Michelin, right? It's supposed to be driver unload, right? I got you. And they would sign it like it was a driver unload. I didn't touch anything.
That's great.
But they knew. They're like, you get like an extra like $60 if you unload the truck, right? And he's like, I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, how about this, man? You're not allowed on our dock.
Nice.
Okay. And then they would sign the paperwork, driver unload.
Right.
Love those guys.
Okay, wait. I did fake the funk one time at one of those because they're like, yeah, you got to unload it. I'm like, and I told the guys on the dock, I'm like, this is going to take all day, man. I'm broken, old, tired, and I ain't got that kind of energy, bro. He's like, well, you got to do it, man. You got to tailgate them. And I'm looking inside the trailer like, holy hell. Like, it was only like 3/4, right? But still, I'm like, Jesus, floor to ceiling truck tires? Come on, man. That ain't right. And yeah, it was garbage. And so I got up there and, you know, did the little deal where you set the tire on the ground, you pull the tire off the top, you hit the tire on the ground, it bounces, it flex, and it rolls out. I did about 4 tires that made it 10 feet. And they're like, get out of there, man. We got this. They got tired of my help. And it probably took me a long time to do those 5 tires or so because I was not feeling it, man. But and I remember that one clearly because that was my load home. I was going home for a week or 2, right? And I was like, fine, I'll take it. This is stupid.
Gee, I remember the first time I did Dollar Tree. This is when I first started. And I'd been out on the road for about 2.5 months. Not doing anything but driving, right? Loving life, making some money. Dude, that hand unload, that was my load home. That's why I took it, right?
Right.
By the time I got to the house, I was so sore, I was useless for like a day and a half.
Yeah. I had one guy.
People would ask me about the Dollar Tree because it paid. Remember, it did pay pretty well because of the driver unload.
Right.
Like, so if you do it all the time,
Right.
But you do them one off, and you're not used to that exercise. Holy
No.
smokes, does it ruin you.
Yeah. Did not like it. Was not a fan. I did JCPenney for a long time. Hanging clothes racks. And then there's, you got all these ropes across the top where all the closed garment, and it was front to back, man. And you had to climb up on a ladder, pull these things down, and it's still over your head. And with my shoulders being what they are from my wreck and all that stuff, it was murder, man. And I did that for a while, trying to help out when there wasn't a Cabela's run because they ran out of the same area. And I would go do one of those to have a load for the night. Man, that was murder. And so, we'd have to do that because it was driver assist. Basically, we had to tailgate it, right? We pulled it off the ropes and then hung it on garment racks and had to wheel the garment rack out. And then, you get through so many of those and finally they're going to pull some freight off the floor. And look, manual labor in the back of a truck sucks. Even in the Northwest where it's pretty cool most of the time, you would leave there and you're just garbage, black, just look like you've been rolling around in the gutter all day.
So there's another technology thing, by the way, Charlie, I just thought about. Next, if you ever talk to my dad again, ask him about the forklift attachments that unload slips out of trucks.
Nice.
You'll be there all day, by the way, because he was on the design team at Heister for that.
Nice. That's awesome.
But there were a lot of stuff we take for granted, right? That was an innovation that someone had to invent when they figured out that the pallets were taking up room,
right?
And on those, especially like paper towels, stuff like that, that meant they an extra row.
Oh yeah,
of freight, and so they had to figure out how to do what we now call slips to move freight in and out of the trucks. And we were talking about how annoying it is when I get one of those loads that's on slips, but they don't have the attachment, so they have to hand unload it. And he's like, "Well, then what's the point of the slips?" I'm like, "Exactly."
Right.
They make a thing for that.
I like when our Target guys load up our FDC trailers, and the forklift drivers on the docks. Just gonna say, not always thinking clearly. Ida, you know what I'm talking about. Instead of using one of the plastic FDC pallets that you can pick up from either side, no problems. Maybe they ran out of the plastic pallets and they use a regular wood pallet, right? Well, some wood pallets you can pick up from either side, easy enough with a pallet jack. There's enough room. But you got those ones with the tiny little cutout, the little notch, just enough to slide a fork underneath it and pick it up sideways. Yeah, that's a problem when we get to these stores because it's not okay because the stores don't have a forklift. They have pallet jacks. And those guys are always extremely happy when that happens at the stores. Don, what's up from saying hello from my Western Star? That's a pretty truck, sir. I'm not going to lie. Ida, that was funny. She messed up and took one of those loads once. Holy cow. Had to use a fifth wheel hook to get them down. Was super sad. I'm far too short for that mess, right? You need those little handles, the little grabbers, like Rosie uses. What else we got going on? Hey, Donna, sorry you're not feeling well, by the way. I did see that earlier. My bad. Donna, get better. There's a lot of nastiness going around. It's hard when you're corralling 97 kids, though. Just saying. You put them little guys to work, people. Look, I caught myself. What'd you say, Tim? Sorry. I can't read the little my I really got to get used to these glasses. They do have automatic landing gears. Most trucking companies too cheap to buy them. Okay. Yep. Yeah, Mike. So you know what I'm talking about. Man, I hated those loads, but needed revenue, right? And every now and then we'd have one of those moments where there's no Cabela's freight for whatever reason, or there was just completely shut down between, Washington and Nebraska. They're like, hey, you can do nothing, or you could go run a JC Penney load for us. And I'm like, money, I like it. Yeah. I always had this scheme where I would try and get my co-driver, one of my drivers to do the unload. And for some reason, always worked out that, oh, well, that's his rest period now. I'm like, how did that work? Because I know I had this planned out the other way, but whatever. Exactly, Tim. I did a Dollar General load with Swift as a company guy 12 years ago. That was one and done. Exactly. No, I don't like touching freight. I'm not a fan. I don't mind using a pallet jack, electric or manual. In fact, I wish they'd let me on this Target stuff because I could get things done a whole lot quicker at Target stores doing that. I'll go put it in the coolers even, but they won't let us do that. It's kind of lame, but whatever. I remember when I first started back in 04, I was over at FFE. And one of the things that you learned in orientation was you got brake adjustment certified. Went through a whole class on how to do that. And they ran you through a class on getting certified on the use of manual pallet jacks and electric pallet jacks of various types and makes and sizes. And they gave you a little card, and it was like OSHA certified stuff. And it was cool, man. Had a forklift certification. And we got to do that stuff, and they paid you for it. And I'm like, that's fantastic. And I don't know. A lot of places have done away with that. They're like, no, you can't use any equipment unless it's your own. And I'm like, okay, liability, litigious state that we're in, whatever. All good, Jeff. You back, sir?
Yeah, my mom's back in the hospital, so
Right.
had to take a call.
Chris said, or better yet, Charlie should sport some John Lennon specs. Oh, you're still on my look. I get it. Okay. Yeah, Mike's been around for 97 years, and he has done everything at Swift. That's a good sound. That sounds really cool in really loud speakers.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm reading through comments, check things out. I feel like I missed a bunch. There was a bunch going on earlier, and
Yeah, Donna went back to bed. She's sick right now. So you're right, Timothy. I am unsupervised.
Don't let that go to your mouth, Jeff.
Blah, blah, blah. Beep, 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 beep.
You'll watch it later. What did life say? In my last video, I had 11 stop hand unload furniture stuff, and that was in the snowstorm. Well, good God. Well, I'm willing to bet you got paid pretty good for that, just because.
Yeah.
But good Lord, man. I can tell you that at Omega, they don't pay enough to do any of that unloading stuff. I don't care what anyone says. And,
No.
I asked them about that one time at Swift. I'm like, why is this unloading fee, whatever it is, so damn low? And they're like, because we actually don't want you to do it.
Yeah, because of the workman's comp claims.
Yeah, and we'd rather you just pay for a lumper, that we reimburse and things like that. And I'm like,
Yeah,
well,
that Dollar Tree account that we used to have in Oregon out of Troutdale,
right.
they actually lost that one on purpose because of all of the workman's comp claims. Now, I was talking to Jim, the old boss man there.
Right.
At the time, he was like, yeah, they way overbid it, and it went to another mega. And then about 6 months later, Dollar Tree was calling Swift saying, hey, man, let's talk. We'd really like to have you back because, that's the thing. They go for that lower price bid, and then their people can't get to the stores on time. So
Right.
they come back to Swift, and Swift was just like, nope. Because I guess the workman's comp claims on that thing were high enough to where it was really cutting into the bottom line for them. A lot of people don't understand how all that works. We're starting to because of our relationship with Tony. But you have claims on a policy, and that affects what your rate's going to be next year.
Right.
On our stuff for you Swift guys, man, we were right on the edge again this year.
Right.
Right on the edge.
Yeah.
Not a great year for the insurance. I'll just
Right.
leave it at that for now. But we ended up with staying steady, which was good for us. But no, y'all need to stop hitting stuff. That's now that I understand and I see it.
And
Stop
don't let
hitting
other
stuff.
people hit you. Create a
That's
cushion.
right.
Rosie will tell you but Rosie's funny. Like if anyone ever sees Rosie out on the road driving at night, you'll notice that she's got this amazing bubble around her. She will drive like 10 miles an hour just to get people away from her. That's an exaggeration. But she is not afraid to drive slow just to create space. And she
Yeah.
creates a ton of space in every direction that she can.
I do
You
that
know?
too.
And she's like, you get that guy that's kind of wobbling next to you. He's tired, and Rosie drives nice. So she gets a lot of those guys, right? And they're just barely creeping past her. Just barely going. And oh my God. And she'll jam on the brakes. And it's weird because she tells me these stories, right? And I'm like, yeah, I got you. Like they're pacing off of her. For whatever reason, trying to, I guess, keep themselves awake. I don't know. I just don't want to be around people, man.
Yeah.
Well,
my habit comes from driving the north for the last 20 years in the
Right.
wintertime. I'm not afraid to chain up. I'm not
Right.
afraid to drive in the ice. But I am absolutely afraid of you knuckleheads out there around me.
yeah,
And I don't care who. If it was Charlie, I would say the same thing. And we're friends.
exactly.
You knuckleheads, I just back off and let you go.
Yeah. Hey, we caravan from Phoenix up to Vegas, bobtailing.
Mhm.
You should have seen the gaps between us then.
Yeah.
And we were on a mission to go.
Yeah, that's when you were still in Chewy, and I was like,
Yep.
we stopped at that restaurant. I'm like, hey, bro, you got like smoke coming out of your back.
Yeah.
Did you know that? And you're like, maybe.
Right.
It's an old truck.
Oh man, good stuff though. Craig said, "I wish we had a General Dollar or Dollar General dedicated. He'd run it." Craig likes that kind of work though. He's crazy.
Yeah, but Craig's fit compared to us anyway. And Trucker Tim, thanks for asking. Yeah, so my mom was in the hospital a couple weeks ago.
Right.
I don't know if I said anything on the show. I actually did the show from my dad's house that week, I think. She broke her foot. She's almost 80, so things happen.
109. Right.
Yeah. And the latest is that she's got some infection they can't find. So we'll see.
That's,
Here's what we have to look forward to. I'm learning about some stuff right now.
right.
So as you get older, if you have a serious infection, even if you're not septic, she's not septic, but she's got an infection. She has symptoms of dementia,
Right.
and it's being caused by the infection. We actually asked the doctor with our family history, is this sudden onset Alzheimer's? Because that's a thing in our family. And the doctor said, no, even that doesn't show up this quick. It's absolutely infection. So just beware. That's something to look forward to. You stub
Right.
your toe, so you break your whole leg.
Yeah.
And then you get an infection, and then you don't recognize your own kids for a couple days.
And you think
and
it's
then-
raining in the hospital room.
Yeah. And then once the infection is gone, you come back to yourself, apparently. Okay. Okay, Narc.
You old bastard. Oh man.
That Charlie's older than me. That's why he shaves his head, because, people would notice.
Hey, look, I'm okay.
I'm okay.
What's up,
you're
man?
okay.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah. Look, Don. Charlie is the best night driver. He drove 100 miles without knowing it. That's exactly why I stopped driving nights right there. I lost that 100 miles that one night. I'm like, never again. We're done with this. Daytime, solar power, not doing it. Rosie's like, let me do it, please. I'm like, oh, okay. As long as you can not lose 100 miles every night, we're great.
Well, you said she likes driving nights, so
Yeah. It's,
I think that's weird, but okay.
Dude, and you know what's crazy is like she doesn't stop very often. She's got great bladder control, unlike me and my age now. Like I'm like every 2 hours, got to hit a spot. You know what I mean?
Well, she doesn't have a prostate, so
What, dude? They say my prostate's great. I don't know.
obviously.
Maybe they're saying something else. I'm gonna get in trouble. Stop. That's back up. Beep beep beep. Anyhow, I'm setting myself up to get in trouble. Oh look, Mike. My dad would get a UTI. He would go completely nutty. Look, Jeff, similar.
Yeah, it's weird.
You know.
Well, so my mom is a really smart lady. She's highly intelligent. So it's just weird to see her not herself. It's kind of, my sister lives with them and helps them, and it's taken a toll on her because she's there with her day in and day out. So
right.
But Charlie, you and I were talking about this because your mom's getting up there in the age too.
Yeah.
And it's just that kind of time of life, man.
She'll be 80 this month.
The obligatory statement, I guess, is, go see your loved ones whenever you can.
For real.
Because, we all say that, but as your parents start aging, my parents have never been in good health. They have loved life their entire 80 some odd years. But that means that they've never been in good health either. Because let's be real. It's just that time, Anytime I'm in the Houston area, I go see my folks now. Because I don't know. It might be the last time. You just don't know. Apparently, Hamey's Western Star. Oh, he won't let anybody. I thought he was saying that the Western Star was sentient and wouldn't let anybody drive it but him. But says on his Western Star, you won't let anybody drive. So that gives me a good segue, Hamey. Thank you, because Drug Runner was, bragging about his Peterbilt earlier, and he's talking about much more comfortable ride than the Freightliner, this, that, and the other thing. And I just got something to say about that, Drug Runner. So in our Western Stars, we get that level of comfort for about $30,000 less, with the same drivetrain as a Cascadia. I'm just saying. It's weird how much more Pete's cost. And I always have to say, yes, I get it. They're really nice trucks. I get why people like them. I get why people drive them. But they're more expensive than the Western Star.
Yeah, I just don't want to pay for one. I would drive one.
Yeah, I would drive one.
Drive
if you want to give me one, I'll drive it. So
you need to handle the maintenance and everything too, though. I'm just saying.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go a little sad here because I'm actually with Wimpy here. He said he's got a saved voicemail from his mom. Listen to it every day. Can't believe she's gone. So this may seem weird. Like half my voicemail is full of messages over the last year, right? Because I worry about my mother. I worry about everybody, honestly, in my family, and I have certain voicemails saved from certain people whose health maybe isn't as great as I would like it to be. And like I have one from my mom. Hey, just calling to wish you a happy birthday. Happy Father's Day. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Right? I save those until I get a new one that replaces that one. I came up with that idea when just before my brother-in-law passed, he called everybody in the family with a very specific message, and and he wanted to talk to people. I actually missed the call, but he left me a voicemail, and he kind of knew it was going to be happening real soon, and so he was kind of finalizing things and saying things that he wanted to say before he left. And I still to this day, and that's been years, I still to this day have that recording. I've moved it from phone to phone, and in this digital age, it's great because you can take that voicemail or whatever, save it in a digital copy, put it in the cloud somewhere, so you always have it. I think that's cool because they say that's one of the weird things is you forget people's voices. You can remember the words, but you start losing their voices in your head. And I don't know. It's a little dark. I'm sorry. But I dig that kind of stuff. And I don't know, man. I was raised by nothing but my mom. I didn't ever know my father. So my mom was the center of my world and still is, and unfortunately she's in Oregon and I'm in Florida and she will not go. If I move her to Florida, it'll probably kill her just because she hates Florida. Whatever.
Really?
Yeah, I can't live in Oregon and she can't live in Florida. She got like really bad COPD on top of everything else. So the humidity in Florida is not good for COPD. I get it. It's crazy. All right, I'm gonna get out of the sad stuff here because I don't want to be sad. It's really easy to get sad.
I'm blaming NARC for getting political.
It's
It's on you, buddy. It says, hey, Trump is going to fix the Freightliner issue anyways with tariffs. So I actually did want to talk about this a little bit, Charlie, because let's not get partisan here.
right.
Love him, hate him. I don't give a two flying,
Right.
you know what's. You know what I want to say. But it would appear that just like last time, about 8 years ago, Trump's tactic is actually working.
Right.
The news today, and this is going to be positive for us guys, is that Canada at least has folded and said, all right, what do you want? So the tariffs on Canada are on hold right now. It's looking like Mexico will also fold. So all of this news that you've seen, oh, Trump's going to kill our economy with these tariffs. Remember what he is. He's a master negotiator. That's what Trump is. Again, love him, hate him, I don't care.
Right.
Let's just deal with what's actually happening. So he threatened these tariffs on other countries, and now they're coming to the negotiating table. That was the point. That's what he actually wanted to accomplish. Just like last time. Right? I don't know if China's going to play ball this time. That could be interesting. Because let's face it, our economy is directly linked to China more than any other economy in the world.
Right.
And they could absolutely cripple us if they decided to. So again, why do we pay attention to politics at all? To see what's going on so that we can react to events. We're
Right.
business people. I assume that if you're watching us, you're either Whippy McPote, anti-business. There, I said it. I mean, he doesn't want to be an owner-operator, and he's made that
Right.
clear, and he has valid points, right? Or you're like us and death before company driver.
Right.
If you're in our side, you need to pay attention to the politics, at least enough to where you can see what they're doing, figure out how it's going to affect your business, and then pivot as necessary so that you can stay in business and continue on your merry way. The worst thing that could happen, let's say that, we've been talking a lot about the PRO Act. PRO Act hasn't passed. Why do we keep talking about it? Because if it ever passes, this business model that most of us are in, this
Right.
leasing a truck and then leasing it to a carrier, will become illegal. If that ever passed, Charlie, you would be out of business tomorrow.
Right.
Unless you have a plan to stay in business. So one of the things that Charlie and I talk a lot about is what if these things happen? It's okay. It's kind of weird because, we also talk about the apocalypse, Charlie and I.
Right.
We talk about stuff that we just really hope never happen, but we do have contingency plans if they did.
I don't know. I'm kind of in support of an EMP.
Yeah, I know you are. I'm not ready yet.
Right. Hey, NARC, FYI, if you want to fix those older trucks because the prices are going even higher on the new ones, contact NARC Mechanic Services. Exactly. Dude will work on
Yes.
truck. Just saying. That's
Yeah, a
not
lot of
shameless,
people.
sir. That
I
is
think we've made it known, but I'm not sure that we've made it apparent. So Nart, he's another YouTuber that we met a while back, but he's also a mechanic. He other than his Nart channel, does he still do the Mike the Mechanic stuff?
I don't think so. If you
I
call
would
him,
like to. I would like to formally invite you, Nart, to revisit the Mike the Mechanic stuff, because you're exactly right. The prices on the used trucks are going down right now, to the point where we're discussing, well, how does that affect our gap insurance
Right.
on our new trucks, right? It's going down. The prices of the new trucks are not going down, though.
right.
So smart money is go buy yourself a quality used truck, right? But that comes
get it-
with other
And get a really
things.
good mechanic to back you up.
Get a really good mechanic like Narc. I'm just saying. You know, everybody's heard my story of when I paid off my 16 clear and free. One of the first things I did was I paid my friend a bunch of money, that is a diesel mechanic, to teach me how to do a lot of the maintenance myself. And on stuff that I couldn't quite do because I didn't have the tools or the know-how, I would just take it to his house and pay him to do it. You know, he little cash under the table, if you know what I mean, you know? So
It's so Narc said he doesn't do the Mike mechanic thing, but he'd help anyone that needed it. You know what's funny about that is I literally listened to conversations. You know, he's like, yeah, I was helping so and so who happens to be on his hit list for the Narc channel, right? Person he doesn't like, yet these people will call him, hey man, I know you hate me and I'm a terrible person, but I got this problem with my truck. What can I do? And he helps them. It's great. He's just like, oh, well, you're going to need to do this, and that, you know? And it's the most bizarre thing that happens in that world, but yeah, it's awesome. It's crazy.
So Mike Henderson, I'm going to continue this one. I don't want to get political, but you are. Watching or reading completely different news than I am. He is folded out of fear, like what the Wall Street Journal, and I'm going to come back to that, called it today the dumbest trade wherever. Okay, so I've been reading the Wall Street Journal for 30 years. Do not get your political news from the Wall Street Journal at all. They are the worst source of information for politics, period. They are worse than CNN. They are worse than Fox. It's all opinion is what you're reading. And they have been nothing but anti-Trump since he got elected. And that tells you something. They're not balanced. They're not even close to balanced. They hate the guy. And he doesn't feel fear. Just so you know. I mean, one of the things that I absolutely believe about Trump is that he has some issues. And studying as much psychology as I have, no degree, but I do study. Yeah, I don't think he feels anything, that guy, if you know what I mean. So that scares some people. I get it. But did you know, Charlie, that the largest number of psychopaths, clinically speaking, statistically speaking, is among business people and politicians?
right.
Like actual psychopaths. Now, I say that it scares people. But just like there's functioning addicts, there's functioning psychopaths. Most of them are not Ted Bundy. Okay. But they absolutely think differently than we do. And fear is not something that they experience. So that's bunk. I'm just putting that out there. People that work for Trump say he's a great guy. What people? I don't think anybody thinks he's a great guy.
Narc, trucks are like kids. It's never their fault. It's who owns them.
You're not wrong.
Right. Narc says the things that no one else says.
Yes.
So
yeah, let's end the political talk on that note.
right.
I get my news, by the way, from many sources, not just one place.
Right.
And yeah, when when people would talk to me about the tariffs, I would actually just point out, well, what happened last time? It's not like we haven't been through this already.
Right.
What happened last time? That's probably what's going to happen again. There's not going to be tariffs. It's a ploy to get people to the negotiating table. And this guy is, I would say, he's for America to the extreme, which I will admit is a little concerning. But I don't know. I actually had a friend of mine that's really like just anti-Trump. You've actually met him. It's Jamie, and he has his reasons, and I understand them. But we were talking the other day. He's like, "Well, would you be so kind to Trump if he was a Democrat? Because I know you're a Republican." And I'm like, "Well, actually, I've been watching Trump since the '90s, and yeah, because you remember he used to be a Democrat, Charlie."
Right.
So, I mean, he hasn't changed, the guy. And he seems to be the kind of person. There's very few people like us, Charlie, that kind of see him as whatever. People are divided by this guy. He's a very divisive personality. People that hate him won't listen to anything he says. People that love him won't listen to the opposition. That's the real problem. We'll see how he does. Now I'm going to make all of the people I just offended happy. I actually voted for Bill Clinton for a second term. I actually think the man did a great job as president. I wish he could have kept his pants zipped.
I did not have sexual relations with women.
And I mean,
what are we talking about?
You vote your conscience, you roll the dice, and you realize one thing above all, Charlie. These people don't give a crap about you.
Right?
We have to make our own way, man. And that's why we don't normally get into politics, because it doesn't actually matter for our businesses. What matters is how you react to what they're doing. And that's why we pay attention.
Look at Narc. Next topic. KC deserved 2025 Super Bowl champs again next week. So go ahead and pull my man card for this one, because I've given up on the NFL. I don't even know who's playing in the Super Bowl.
Philadelphia, I think, isn't it?
I don't know who else.
The only reason why I know about Philadelphia is because someone posted on Facebook drone footage of the celebration in the streets.
Right.
And I was like, oh, they must have made it to the Super Bowl.
So
and then I asked Charlie about it the next day. And he's like, I don't know.
I'm like, maybe they won the championship or something. I don't know. I'm just like, whatever. Just over it, man. Look, I'm a Dallas fan, and I'm still going through years and years of letdown every year after year. It's fine.
So I grew up in a city without an NFL team, so I just don't give it. I don't give it any care at all.
Yes. I like when Dallas. I've been a Dallas fan since like the 70s. Calm down. It's a thing. Wait, same here. I'm a Detroit fan, right? I'm just saying. Oh Lord, there's been some stuff said. There was something that I started.
So after that big diatribe of mine, isn't that when someone usually says, "Hey, how about those Dodgers?"
Right?
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I've lost chat. Not lost
Dennis
it, but
Lewis is a Tampa Bay guy all day long. Well, duh, you live down there, don't you?
so I'm a Tampa Bay Rays fan for baseball. I absolutely will. I refuse to ever vote for the Buccaneers. It's not happening. I never liked that team. Don't care. Not happening ever. And since I'm not following football these days, it's okay because I don't have to, get into those arguments. But here, so baseball, there's a funny thing. The Dodgers and the Rays seem to play each other every other year. If I go to a baseball game here in Tampa, I wear a Rays hat, and I actually like the Rays. They're my local team, and I just like baseball. But when they're playing the Dodgers, I break out the old LA hat because that's where I grew up, and that's how I got into baseball to start with. You know, back when Fernando was pitching for the Dodgers back in the day, you know, and I mean way back. And so yeah, I don't know, it's a thing. It's a thing. And as far as hockey goes, Kings, bro. Again, LA. I don't know. People said things. Exactly. Foosball is the devil, Bobby.
That's a really bad Hank impression.
I can't do it.
So in this year's Warhammer Open, it looks like Emperor's Children are really doing well.
There you go. I saw a Warhammer store the other day. I didn't realize it was there. It's on one of my regular routes to Huntsville.
I think that unless you were into it, you wouldn't know it was there, would you? They're usually in a strip mall.
Yep. I don't know how many times I've driven past it and just never noticed it because I look around, I get bored, you know. And
so that's a thing, by the way. So I was sitting the other day, and you know how I used to bring my little stuff to paint with me out on the truck? I haven't done that in a long time, and it dawned on me that I have not done my hobby for about 2 years.
Right.
That's interesting to me because that used to be what kept me from road raging. Right. But since you and I hooked up and started getting more into this business stuff,
yeah,
I don't have time for it, and I can't say that I miss it.
I'm sorry, and you're welcome.
I'll probably go back to it when I have time because it's enjoyable to me. But you know, I do have a point here. You know, when you're doing something you're passionate about, you know, everybody, whether it's sports or like me, Warhammer for Charlie, I know you like the video games with the grandkids. You find enjoyment in that. But when you have a passion about something like we do about the business stuff, it does kind of take over.
It does.
And you know what? You're okay.
Still got to make time to be present with the family when it's time to be present with the family.
Absolutely. But that's part of the principles, right? That we go over with people. You know, this concept of work-life balance, I'm just going to put it out there, guys. It doesn't exist.
Right.
It's not real. I don't know when it first got put out there, but it was basically a saying, work-life balance, that was designed to sell books. You need a work-life balance. Let me show you how. Okay,
Right.
well, I'm here to tell you in 2024, it doesn't exist.
2025, Grandpa.
Is it really? Freak, man. It's only been a month in. It's only been a month in, man. 2025, it doesn't exist. The science says work-life balance doesn't exist. Okay,
Right.
I said it. But you know what you can do? You could get yourself into a state where you're fully present in the moment.
Right.
So whether you're out here driving the truck, you know, we just talked about how Rosie keeps that bubble around her at all times. That's focus. When I'm at home, I focus on the wife and kids. You know, the only time that Charlie can't get a hold of me is when I'm home.
Right.
Because there's times where I just turn the phone off and we have a movie and pizza night or something, or this or that. When I'm working on Road Warrior stuff, that's what I'm doing. And that's
sorry.
And that's where it's at, man. That's where you find the purpose in life. That's where you find the joy in life. Is if you can switch this off over here while you're doing this right here.
Right.
I think you're going to find, as I have, that's where
excuse me,
you find purpose. You're never going to find balance because people think, well, I need to spend 8 hours at work, 8 hours at home, and 8 hours sleeping. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Right.
Especially if you're an entrepreneur. There are days when we work on one thing or another, whether it's the trucking business or the coaching business or building relationships for our business, that you're doing that for 20 hours and then you sleep for 4 and then you go run a load.
Right.
So the balance of time does not exist at all. And then there's times like, one of my frustrations about my new operation here, Charlie, the downtime.
Right.
I'm not used to that. Hurry up and get this load there. Like right now, pick up today, deliver it Thursday morning in Atlanta, right? Go. And then you get to the other end and there's nothing.
Right.
So what do you do with that?
Yeah.
And we've talked about this before, Charlie. What do you do with that time?
Right.
What you do with that time matters. Sometimes you just need to unplug. Watch a movie, get some sleep.
Yeah, time is not something you can bank.
Right. But if you're feeling good, especially, like this just happened to me, Charlie. You notice I did a bunch of stuff over the weekend.
Right.
Well, I'd already been sitting for a day and a half. I got my rest. And I'm sitting here in the truck. And it's not automatic for me either, guys. So don't think it is. What I'm saying is not an easy thing to do. You do have to practice it. I started thinking, well, gosh, I'm really tired of watching TV. I've got my rest.
Right.
Well, what can I be doing? I actually sat and had a little conversation with myself. What can you be doing right now to move the needle forward in one of your businesses?
Right.
And made a couple phone calls, got some things written down, got some ink on paper with some things, really just made some things happen. But what does the average person do? And we want to be better. We want to, have you ever watched the show Suits, Charlie?
Yep.
I love Suits. In one of the first episodes, Harvey Specter, the main attorney in the show, he's looking across the table at the young man. I can't remember his name because I'm terrible at names, but he's looking at the other character and he's like, look, life is this. I want this.
Right.
Start thinking that way. Life is this. You could be okay. You can have the 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, the 2 cars, what's the average nowadays, Charlie? 2.5 kids.
Right.
And be okay. But it's okay.
Right.
Now let's be real. The difference between this and this, Harvey Specter, fictional attorney, that's more than I really want. So maybe mine is this, but it's still not this.
Right.
Right. Figure out where your level of what you want to be is, write it down and start working towards that. And that's where these little pockets of time, you want to use those to get from here to here to here to here, wherever you want to be. If you don't act, it's never going to happen.
Right. So
Chris Hamilton is the half.
Yeah.
Funny you should mention that, Wimpy.
I was just, right. He said, start a dispatch service, Jeff. Scour the load boards while you're sitting. So, yes, we actually know of an opportunity in this part of our industry. But here's the deal. You got to remember, dispatching on that type of service is a 24-hour-a-day job.
Yes, it is.
Because you get a guy on a load that you committed to and you got your guys committed to, and something happens and now they're calling you at 3 a.m.
Yep.
Hey, I broke down. And now you have to figure out how to make it all work or pay fines and lose money and all these other things. But we do actually know of a company that is looking for a dispatch person, basically. Yeah, to book loads and manage all that and things like that. But that's a tough gig, man. It's not a gig for me, I don't think. I don't mind managing trucks, the business end of helping to manage the books on, the general running of the company. I don't want to manage their loads. Does that make sense? I don't know if I said that right. It
So
sounded better in my head.
getting back to the Harvey Specter thing, because I'm RRR right now.
Right.
So this opportunity, and Charlie and I get word of opportunities all the time that fit into this. So let's say I'm here and I want to get here, but I'm looking at that opportunity and it would actually bring me here,
Right.
whether it's emotional, job satisfaction, what have you. It doesn't
Stress.
move me up there. Now you look at that opportunity. Let's use the dispatch service as the example, Charlie.
Right.
You might look at that opportunity and say, that would absolutely level me up.
Right.
I would love to do that. I think you should go do that. And what happens is we have these limiting beliefs of, well, yeah, but can I really do that? Well, only if you want to. That's the thing. There has to be a certain amount of skill when you're doing something new that you need to learn. But above everything, there has to be desire. We're working with some clients right now on getting their businesses back to a level where they're happy.
Right. Not
And
just
one of the-
surviving.
one in particular, my pitch, for lack of a better term, was, okay, man, our goal for you is this. At the end of working with us, we want you to be working on your business, not in your business. Because right now the dude is running everything, which tells you he does not have the right butts in the right seats.
Right.
So he needs to find people, right, that are not only qualified, but want it. A lot of people hire people that are qualified, but do they want that position? Do they want to be doing that job? That's a key that people pass over.
Right.
Same thing with trucking. A lot of people go to truck driving school. They go out with a mentor, right? And within a couple of weeks, you know what they figure out? This sucks.
Right.
Okay, so quit now before
Yes.
you get in and your mortgage is hanging on the fact that you drive a truck. Okay, quit now. It's my advice to those people.
For real.
And then there's people like me that, man, when I got behind the wheel of a big truck with my mentor, I was just like, oh yeah, this is great. Ups and downs, obviously, over the years, but by and large, I really like driving truck, Charlie. If you don't want to do it, you're not going to be as successful as someone that does want to do it. Does that make sense? So for those of you guys that are planning on building small fleets in the next couple of years, keep that in mind when you start hiring people. Guy could have a great safety record. If he hates driving a truck, he's not going to perform well for you or himself. He's going to be one of those guys that gets to the Petro after unloading and you don't hear from him. He's waiting for a call from you. He's not building his network of people at Swift or Panther or Prime or whoever it is you're leased to do better for himself because he hates the job. Every chance he gets, he's going to be watching TV. Now, if that's your thing, whatever. I'm just saying that you can't get from here to here doing that.
And also for people thinking about building fleets, right? You need to think about how involved are you going to be in the managing of that fleet?
Mm-hmm.
At some point, like Jeff was saying, you're going to need people that work the back end with you.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to find the right people, and you need to be able to say, okay, I'll try this guy out. It's not working out. I need a new person.
Mm-hmm.
Which is hard for a lot of people.
Well, a lot of people in our industry,
hire.
Charlie, they hire their buddies.
Right.
Hey, man, I know you're tired of driving the truck. How about you come work for me and do my maintenance program?
Right.
Or how about you do operations for me? And they can get out of the truck, which they want. But do they want to be an operations manager?
Right.
Did they even think about that before you presented them with the opportunity ever? I mean, I even had Colton ask me, "Hey, have you ever thought about being a fleet manager?" I didn't skip a beat, Charlie. I knew he was offering me a job.
All right.
It would have got me out of the truck, which with my health, maybe I should have taken it.
Right.
But you know, I didn't even skip a beat. No, I never even considered that. Not interested.
Right.
Why? Because I'm trying to get to here. I'm not trying to go from here to here. You know. And for me, with the way with what I have a passion for, being a fleet manager. Okay, fleet managers make pretty good money, Charlie. People don't realize
yeah,
that,
right.
but they do make pretty good money. I would hate going to work. I know
Right.
it. Yeah, there might be some news on that too, Chris, coming up.
Okay.
What man? So one of the things that Charlie and I have talked about before, but I
Excuse me.
think Charlie,
Ooh.
we could talk about a little more is, as an entrepreneur, you know, even us, you know, we talk a big game right now, but 3 years ago, did we talk like this, Charlie?
No.
How far have we come just by doing what we do in the entrepreneurial realm?
Right.
Man, we are looking for opportunities, like seeking them out. 9 out of 10 of those opportunities are, we look into them and either we can't do it for one reason or another, or we just don't want to.
Right.
But we're looking. Always be looking for those opportunities. You know, we've got a guy that we've been watching for a while, Charlie, that really gung ho. Apparently, he wants to own a fleet. He put a call out to Swift drivers this morning or yesterday. Hey, where's all the fleet owners at? Let's talk. I didn't see that he got much traction on that. But he's doing some things right. He's looking for the opportunity.
Right.
He's obviously excited about the opportunity. We would like the opportunity to guide him a little bit because we see him moving in a direction that's positive, but he's moving way too fast. And those of you guys that have been in the industry for a while know these people.
Without the knowledge.
Without the knowledge, you know, that again, one of the things, skill set. You got to get the skill before you can move forward. If you just jump in, there are those unicorns out there. I'll say that.
Right.
There's those unicorns out there that like have the golden Midas's golden touch, man. They can switch entire industries
Yeah.
and do well. It's weird. But those of us mere mortals out here, take the time, do the hard work, like Rutherford says. Do the hard work. Learn the business. One of the things that we will tell people that want to own fleets is, let's look at your profit and loss statement on your one truck.
Right.
Are you profitable? If you take that profit and understand that you have to pay someone else a good chunk of that to drive the truck, are you
Right.
still going to be profitable?
And they're not going to take as good a care of your truck. They're not going to be typically willing to do the minor repairs here and there that you just, you know, take for granted because you're doing them, right? Those expenses add up. I can tell you firsthand. You know, I had some guys that wouldn't do anything on my trucks. They're like, look, I had a guy in one of my trucks that replaced a drive tire on a truck because the tire was flat, yet there was nothing wrong with the tire. It was a leaking valve stem. It was a thing. Now that was a thing. Let me tell you that, because we had some words there. He
I bet you
authorized the replacement, and that was way back in Walmart days. And anyhow, what it was, good Lord. But you know, so if you as a solo operator right now are doing okay, multiply that out, and you know, you could put in some random coefficient to say less X amount percent of that net revenue because they're not going to be taking care of your truck. They're not going to drive it slow. They're going to drive it fast. They're going to wear things out more. They may use tires up. They may not be as cautious as you. They may ding things. I mean, there's all these factors, right? So,
Mhm.
you know, if you're doing okay, probably not the time to build that fleet. Now, learn how to do great, learn how to thrive, learn how to teach that mentality, that attention to detail to other people, seek out those types of employees or whatever. And those are the people you want to attract. And you have to be able to identify those people really quick, because it doesn't take long for one bad driver to screw your revenue up on 10, 15, 20 trucks.
Mhm.
And a lot of people don't think about that. They're like, oh, I just need an ass in a seat.
Right.
And I assure you, that is not what you want. You don't want an ass in a seat. You want someone who's going to really take pride in things and really look after your equipment. Hopefully the way that you look. You'll never find anyone that's going to take care of your equipment the way you do.
Right.
It's a unicorn. But that's reality, you know. You know, I'm sure you know, most of the guys looking at us right now all had that time and point when they were company drivers, and they're like, I'm driving as fast as I can because I get paid for miles and I have no expenses. So if I can get there faster and get rid of it faster, then I can make more money. That's not the case when you're paying for fuel and things like that. You know, most times that's not the case. There are those exceptions,
Well, if you're like Brian Jess, good to see you, by the way, buddy.
right?
He's happy doing his owner operator deal contracted to a small carrier running spot freight. He negotiates the rates, gets paid percentage of the rate, and he gets paid after each load, and he rolls on. Yeah, I would be interested to know, Brian, are you seeing rate increases recently or not? Seems to be a mixed bag out there on the socials when I look for it.
So Tim said, if I build a fleet, I'll rent the truck out like Penske and the guy drives for, and the guy Jeff drives for. I'll cover the maintenance, but it will be stipulated that they are responsible to maintain fluid levels, etc. I would sue them for negligence if they fail to do that and something catastrophic happened. Okay, blood out of a turnip. How's that going to work out?
Yeah. So Tim, I'm gonna one of the concepts that is still in its infancy in my brain, because I was working with this guy over the past couple of months, and I kind of had a thought, and it's the guy that I work with. His name's Rob. He owns a small fleet of about 40 trucks, and the business model is basically I rent the truck for 40% of line haul.
Right.
He takes care of the maintenance on the truck, all that stuff, permits, whatever. So the question I have for him at this point is, Rob, are you in the freight business? Or are you in the business development business?
Right.
So I think, Tim, small little pivot in thinking. If you do this business model, if you see yourself more as someone that helps people get into business, I think there's a relationship change there between you and the driver of the truck. I think it's healthier. I think that it, how do I put this? It demands more respect from the driver to you if they understand that you're helping them get into business.
Right. You know, Jeff and I had a long conversation about this very subject a while back. I want to say like 2 months, a month, something like that. And it was kind of like a light bulb moment for both of us in his situation with Rob. And I actually argued that a pivot on a carrier like Swift, even, that if they made some minor changes in the philosophy of their owner operator division, could absolutely, the owner operator division would not be, you know, the owner operator division, it would be the owner operator development division, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there are some changes that need to be made and some, views that need to be changed. Trying to get that through on a mega, let's be real, I don't know. It might be easier to sue a driver like Tim was talking about. I don't know. But I think it's a really good conversation and it's a really good thought wrestling match, right? Because I think that pivot that you're talking about, in particular in Rob's case, is going to be important. It's going to be significant because I think that mentality, like you're saying, really changes your perspective and the way that you approach things.
Right.
So Tim, if that's the kind of model you're looking at, I mean, by all means, man, let's talk some more stuff out. I think it'd be fun. I'd love to include you in a conversation like that because, the more people you get talking about some of these ideas, right, the more we can develop them because maybe you think of something we didn't think of.
Yeah.
Maybe we've got some insight that you don't have, whatever, things like that. And so those are great conversations. And that would absolutely be kind of a good one over there in the RWE group, Jeff, because I think that's a fantastic one.
Well, Tim is in school.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, that would be a great place to start to kick that off. Brian, thanks for this, by the way. I'm assuming you're talking gross. We don't like gross, but I'll take it. Says he's absolutely seeing rate increases. He's running strictly southeast, mostly Florida and Georgia. $1,000 per day has gotten easy to achieve and going home weekly for 2 days. So
I actually think that's his net.
Is it?
I think so.
Have you talked to him recently?
Brian, clarify that for us, will you? Because I think that he's shooting for 1,000-day net.
Okay.
I could be wrong. But nonetheless, I mean, that's what I look at on a team truck. It's a low number for a team truck, but my goal is $1,000 in revenue every single day. Right? Anything less than that in our truck is like, why?
Why'd you even turn the key on?
And not always the best for you. Sometimes you just got to run something that's garbage, right? But clearly, if I'm not doing $1,000 a day, there's an awful lot of sitting going on for me. And in our operation here at Omega, that's not a good mix. If we can't do $1,000 a day, something is broken and things aren't going well for me.
Right.
So yeah. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked there. But yeah, hey Tim, that's a good one to throw up in the group, man. Definitely throw that. If any of you are wondering what group we're talking about, there's some info down there along the bottom. You can go to rwedrive.com. Oh, sorry, nose itching. Or this link right there scrolling across the bottom, www.skool.com/road-warrior-entrepreneurs-5467/about. And there's more stuff there. Anyhow, yeah. Oh, Wimpy said, stay tuned for the fresh slides from Prime Inc. I don't know what that's going on. I don't know what's going on over there.
I don't know what's going on over there. I know they were planning on having the driver-facing camera mandate.
Oh, that went in. That had to be done by January 1st.
Did it?
Oh, wait. I think I know what he's talking about. Wimpy, are those two guys going to Prime? Is that what's happening? I thought they just went back to Hirschbach.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
They literally just went back to Hirschbach. Well, according to some of their videos, talking about the boys are back in town. It was music they had playing, and they showed a Hirschbach truck. I thought it was funny. I'm like, whatever.
Did they pay for the rights on that? I'm wondering.
Who knows? Wade asked if I had any more notes on the lease. I don't yet. I go through these little chunks at a time, and I try to make some mental notes. My overall feel, without super deep diving in that contract, Wade, is I question how good a lease that is. Simply based on truck payments, fuel costs. You know, they look like a decent. It seems like a decent fuel surcharge until I put it next to the Swift one, and I'm like, oh, that's not great. The 99-cent fuel guarantee. There's stipulations on that, and 99-cent fuel is nowhere near what I pay using even Comdata in my daily operation. Even, I mean, I can do way better than that even with, Swift's fuel card. There are some pluses and some minuses that I've noticed, and I'm not going to get real specific. I think at best it might be an equal wash on the net side, but I need to do some deeper diving into the numbers to give a better answer. So I'm still working on it. He said they still owe Hirschbach money. They tried using up their 2 free weeks of lease payment, and when Hirschbach said no. That's wow. It's always something with those guys. Those who know. The thing. IYKYK. Yeah. So anyhow, that's a thing. But yeah, so I don't have solid, and I actually got a Prime contract sent to me this week, which I have not even had the opportunity to open up yet. So I'm interested to see how that goes. Well, wait, that's not true. I did see the very top of it, and their truck payments are crazy, but it was only a 52-week payment. So I just didn't even dip into it. Yeah, it's a big thing, Lippy, for real.
Yeah, so just what you and I discussed about that Hirschbach contract, at best, I think we agreed they make the same as a Swift operator.
Right.
When you get down to the bottom line. And, we've said this for years, Charlie. Most truck drivers make about the same amount of money.
Right.
When you get down to what they pay tax on. The question is the system that you're working in, the framework, if you will, something that you enjoy?
Right.
Charlie is at Swift, and I was at Swift for what a lot of people think is too long. But I tell you what, I really liked the people I worked with there. My experience swapping carriers is exactly what I anticipated. Maybe it was a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. I don't know. That could be a thing. But there was a learning curve, and it was unpleasant to have to go through all that again. Building a whole new network of contacts, learning how they do business, all that stuff. Now I do make more per mile over here, but because of the nature of the expedited industry, it's a wash, man.
Right.
It's I make about the same, and that's going to be the case. If you're a skilled operator, you're going to make about the same amount of money to the house, no matter where you go. The only way to increase that is to up your game. Do something like step deck, over dimensional, find something special. Sean was doing really well with that bulk grain hauling there for a while. It turned out that the guy he went to work with was a big fat jerk, but hey, you can't help that.
Right.
But if you want to make more money, then more is going to be required of you.
And what we're comparing right now, what we're mostly talking about, is most of the people in these large carriers that are leased to a large carrier, right? People say, oh, well, I get 80% of the revenue at Prime or whatever it is. And, you guys are only making this, chicken scratch mileage rate. But when you break down the bottom line costs and the net amount to the bank account, they seem to be pretty damn even. For me at Swift, I find it less work that I have to do on the back end. I did run into independent guys with their own numbers and everything, over the years, and they're like, yes, they made 25 cents a mile more than me, but they also worked twice as hard and twice as long as I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to do that work. I didn't want to, do the searching for loads and things like that. Brian, on the other hand, is with a small carrier and does that, and he's doing well. He's doing better than what he did at Swift. That is without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
But when we're talking about these, big
but
carriers,
but my point still stands. He upped his game.
right, absolutely.
You have to up your game if you want more compensation. Every once in a while, even in our groups, Charlie, someone comes up with the bright idea that they're going to day trade from the road, stocks, right?
Right.
So I know a few guys that have actually made a killing doing that over the years. But you know what they have that I found out I don't have, Charlie? A passion for it.
Right.
No matter what your pursuit is, if you don't have a passion for it, man, just find something else. There's plenty of opportunity out there if you go look for it. If you're in a good place and you love what you're doing, really, what more can a guy ask for than that? Yeah, Chris, I agree with you. I'm way too old for all that extra work.
Right. I thought that was a great comment. I'm like, I'm there with you, bro.
But I think Charlie's part of the reasons for this. We've been just studying marketing a lot lately and the other stuff that we're doing. And it started in about the 1950s. I did a little bit of research on this. This attitude that we have, this keeping up with the Joneses. Well, why don't I have a fancy car?
Right.
Well, why is my house only 3 bedrooms and not 6? That was drilled into us by the marketing people to sell us stuff.
Right.
You really want to get from here to here in your life? Stop worrying about the Joneses. Worry about your own self. My whole goal every single day, Charlie, is to just be a little bit better than I was yesterday.
Yep.
Just a little. I mean, to the point, that I would like to quit dipping, and everybody can see that I'm still dipping.
Right.
But if I made it a half hour yesterday without this crap in my mouth, can I make it 31 minutes tomorrow?
Right.
Seriously, really small increments that I work towards. And there's power in that because you feel accomplished. It's measurable, right?
Yep.
All the way down to how you spend your time. You could get really crazy about it. I think it's Larry Winget that teaches this one. For a couple of days, carry a day planner or something with you and write down everything you do in that 24-hour period. And then look at what you actually did. You're going to see how much time you wasted on stupid stuff.
Right.
You're going to see where you were effective. And you're also going to, if you do it right, and I don't think he goes over this thing, this is my thing. If you do it right and you're looking at what you did, try and think about when you felt the best.
Right.
Was it when you were watching Star Trek for the umpteenth time because they're all on reruns? Was it when you were talking to your spouse, your kids, your significant other, whatever? Was it when you were driving the truck? Was that when you were happiest?
Right.
Really get down into that. And then you'll start to see where you're really at. And I always put my hand here because this should be where you're at now.
Right.
And then you look at what made you happy when you're looking at what you did. You're like, well, I'm going to do a little more of that. You do a little more of that thing that made you happy. Well, now you're up here. And then you're here. And then you're here. And it takes time.
Right. Brian said, I should add that lately I'm only driving about 6-7 hours a day as well. The short game on spot freight is just working for me right now. If you can get 1,200 for 400 miles, I say do it. Absolutely. I've said that for years.
Charlie will go to the mat on that one.
Yeah, I will, because nobody wants to run the short stuff, and it baffles me because it pays so damn well. And if you can get it on and off, especially same day, oh man, it's butter. And if you got a same household team like Rosie and I have, That's gold, man. There is absolute gold out there. You can just knock it out. I'm waiting for the newest iteration of the Swift load board because the different pay scale rate, whatever package. And that might open up because they get a ton of this, short mileage stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that it pays pretty good. And if you can get 2 or 3 of those in a day, I do it all day long. And wait, I could maybe go home every other day. Okay. I get to hang out with the grandkids, more than 2 days a week. Awesome. That would offset things for me. I mean, only have to worry about food on the road for 1 day or 2 days, and that changes the whole calculus. All those things play into it. And Brian really stepped his game up, when he made the leap and did really well. And I like hearing from him. Chris said, I probably don't want to know all the waste of time.
It's a hard thing to look at,
Right.
but absolutely worth it. Oh, that's a good one. Talking to Charlie always makes me happy and remotivated when he answers the phone. When's that? Like once every other week?
You got to shut up. I'm deleting everybody.
You got a whole slew of depressed people because you don't answer the phone now, Charlie.
Man, I'm sorry. Yeah, Tim said, I'm happiest when laying by the pool under the sun with temperatures hovering around 85. There you go.
So the question is, how do you get to the point where you can do that more?
Right.
And Tim's a guy too, Charlie. I don't know if you're friends with him on Facebook, but if you look at what he posts, you can see exactly what he loves.
Oh, yeah.
He's always posting the new place he went or the place he visited that he was at a couple of years ago that he just loves.
Right.
That type of thing.
I watched the Tim show, bro.
Yeah.
Hang on one second. Scrolling.
Hey, Mark. Good to see you.
Hey, Mark. I lost it. It's somewhere. Looking for a specific comment. Sorry.
You're waiting for a specific comment?
There it is.
Or you're looking for one?
No, I was looking for one. It's in the starred folder. Excuse me. Man, I am having sinus issues today. Like, good Lord.
I don't know. Which comment is Drug Runner asking about?
That one there.
Yeah, we could do that, Sean. Just remember that we're not accountants.
Right.
It may hurt your feelings. I always tell people, so my sister is an individual that doesn't watch the show, so I can talk about her. It's not really behind her back, because she could always just watch the show. Nobody watches the show in my family. But anyway. Financially challenged is the way I'll put it. Specifically, she has a plastic habit that she can't get rid of.
Right.
And whenever she asks me about money because she's stressed, I guarantee you that 2 things will happen. I will make her cry, and then she will call my mom and tell on me. We're in our 40s and 50s, dude. But then, you know what my mom tells her? Well, it's Jeff. He's going to tell you what he thinks if you ask him. But if you don't ask him, he won't say anything. So just don't ask him. But yeah, you know the deal on that though, Sean, because you and I have had many discussions over the last couple of years on finances, and anybody that asks me about financing and debt and things like that, you're going to hear my opinion, and you can do with it what you want. You're not going to hurt my feelings, even if you swear at me and tell me to take a leap. It doesn't really bother me. It's like Charlie and I have said about everything we do. We know a way to make money. We know a way to budget. Is it the only way, Charlie?
Nope.
But we know ours works because we've used it.
Right.
You know, everything we talk about. You know, even the. So one of the things that came up during the thing with Josh this weekend is this guy Donald Miller. I've really gotten into Donald Miller stuff, and he is he's a business coach, and I've started implementing his stuff in my businesses, to the point to where I'm like, hey, this could help people. So, you know, again, you know, so you guys that are in school, ding, 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 shameless plug, we're going to start doing some Donald Miller stuff. We're not certified yet, but we're working on that. This is one of those things I mentioned it in the conference, Charlie.
Right.
In our position, because we do charge money to join that thing, we can't just say, hey, do this Donald Miller thing that I'm going to teach you.
Right.
You get sued for that.
Yeah,
just so people know. So there, we have to go get certified in his stuff so that we can bring it to you proper.
A substantial investment in ourselves.
Well, yeah, but it's an investment in our business.
Right.
And this is the perfect time to talk about investing in your business, guys. Whether it's a truck, whether it's services like ours,
Right.
accounting, you know, it costs money to get started on the ES Advantage fuel card that we promote. Right? If it's an investment in yourself, if it's an investment in your future, in your business, think seriously about that investment. Do the numbers on it. What do you expect to get out of, say, a school membership with Road Warriors?
Right.
What do you expect to get out of that $47 a month? And then you, as the consumer, basically, you need to let us know if we're not providing that value to you. Right?
I'm going to throw something out here real quick. It's an IYKYK thing. If you come to us for specific advice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you keep coming to us for specific advice, don't be Alexia, IYKYK, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot that Jeff and I do completely free of charge to people,
Yep.
right? And I'm not picking on you, Sean, but I'm going to pick on you a little bit. There have been things in the past where you are a dog on a bone and you want to do this thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we say, I don't know about that thing that way. You know, this is kind of what we see happening, doing this thing that way. And you'll come back to us. And it's not just you. I'm using you because you're here and you're in the hot seat. We get a lot of people like this. I can tell you, for me personally, I'm not going to speak for Jeff. I can tell you that it's very frustrating to get the same phone call. And we've talked for minutes and hours and over a period of months or whatever, right? And I'm not busting you out, so don't take it that way, but typically people take it that way. Alexi was a great example of that. We had this group of kind of coach type people, and she would call all four of us every day with some new scheme, right? And we would all tell her the same thing, having not spoken to each other. We had this unspoken rule where if Alexia calls, don't call anyone till the end of the day, and we'll all compare notes later on, because it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
We would all tell Alexia the same thing. Alexia would do the opposite and then be pissed off and call back with the same problem over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately for Alexia, I refuse to ever take a call from Alexia ever again. It just is what it is. Unless Alexia is willing to pay me for my time in an hourly rate, which is absolutely something that we can do then.
Well, even then, as a business coach, one of the cool things is, Charlie, if you guys get to the point in your career where you want to try and do what we do, we absolutely invite you into the fold.
Right.
By the way, because there's a need for it, especially in the trucking industry. There's a real need for drivers helping drivers, for contractors helping
Right.
contractors, for carriers helping carriers. Because, man, we are just an obstinate bunch, us truck
And
drivers.
I don't want to say cheap, but cheap. We're frugal as all get out.
Yeah, well, we
don't
have
wanna
to be.
spend a penny to make a dollar.
Yeah, there's a reasons for that. But we get to choose who we work with.
Right.
If you're not a good fit, we can figure that out within a couple of phone calls.
Right.
And if you follow me on Facebook, which I would greatly appreciate if you followed me on Facebook, not just friend me, but actually follow me. Same thing with Charlie, because it helps with the algorithms, as we like to say.
There's
get us
direct
out there a
links
little
in the
more.
description of the show. You
Yeah.
can get directly to us.
I did talk about that a little bit in today's video. If you're stuck, if you're spinning your wheels, which is a great analogy for trucking, right? If you feel like you were meant for more, whether it's fleet owner or you just want to increase your bottom line, whatever, you need a guide. You need someone to guide you, someone that's already been through that. Whether that guide is Charlie and I or not, you need to find a guide.
Yeah, for real.
And here's the real secret to all of this stuff, Charlie. Are you ready? I'm going to reveal a secret right now. There is no secret.
Right.
None.
No secrets.
The only reason why gurus sound so smart is because they've spent more time studying, reading, researching, all that stuff that you don't have time to do. That's what you're paying for when you buy their book or their Audible or whatever, or listen to their podcast. But when you're looking for a guide, and I sincerely hope that you're all looking for a guide, make sure that it's someone that resonates with you. The best example is Mr. Larry Winget in my personal history. I love Larry Winget. And those of you that are not familiar with Mr. Larry Winget, he is known as the pit bull of personal development. And the reason is because he's not touchy-feely at all. He has books titled "People Are Idiots and I Can Prove It."
Right.
You're
Love that
broke
book.
because you want to be, and your children are your own damn fault.
Yep.
Those are the 3 titles of his best-selling books. Not a touchy-feely guy. I love the guy.
Yep.
I can listen
Find
to
someone that speaks to you, that
I
resonates.
can listen to People Are Idiots on repeat and just be motivated all day long to do something with my life.
He's a great kick in the pants.
Donna, on the other hand, shuts completely down when that man's name comes up.
Right.
She will not listen to him. So make sure it's someone. We would love to think that everybody loves us, but that's just not the case.
Right.
But make it someone that you're going to listen to and it's going to spur you to action. That's the guide you need. And that's kind of a wrap, Charlie.
Yep. So, bottom line, find someone who's a step ahead of you, right? That resonates with you, that you can understand, speaks your language. Many ways we can put this. And utilize them the way that you may be paying for, or whether you're paying cash or time. Don't keep coming back with the same problem over and over and over and doing the opposite of what maybe that person is telling you, and then be pissed off. I don't know. It's a hang up of mine, and Jeff and I struggle with that every day with different people that we speak to here and there, and it's a lot. So be mindful of your time, their time, everybody's time. Everybody's time is valuable. Like we said, you can't bank time.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
And
guys.
do not sell yourself short on that.
Right.
if you're going to spend time with a book, it better be worth it.
Tim, this is absolutely true. A lot of truckers are too damn prideful to admit they need help or guidance. Craig agrees. And like Craig said, hit that button. Hit that thumb, y'all. I don't know why, because it's fun to say. Jeff, what do you got, man? We're going out.
You know what I'm saying.
Do it.
With no action, there is no traction, guys. Keep that rubber side down and be safe out there.
And, you know, for me, it's coming. Look after each other, everybody. Nobody's out here looking after us but us. We'll see you here next Tuesday, 6 p.m. I'm off of trucking until the 13th. I'm going to try and get caught up on some calls and things like that. And I got some honeydew list stuff to do. Rosie's going to be gone for a week with her sisters down in Tampa, just doing weird sister things. I got bail money on standby, so we're good to go. You guys be safe. We'll see you here 6 p.m. Tuesday Eastern time on our little Trucking Talks live show. And we love you guys and thank you so much. And we're going to push buttons and see.